Like every holiday, I was on the phone with my relations last week. And of course, my chat with them made me all the more homesick for my ancestral home. Michal and Anna Mae said it's been wet and cold over in Nakahappel County, Tipperary, but there hasn't been any sign of snow on the mountain yet. So all in all, a pretty mild winter. Speaking with them got me thinking about just all kinds of things, but what I kept coming back to was remembering the winters that I spent in Ireland. Winter in Ireland is very different from the other seasons. It's chilly, frosty, damp, and it gets dark really, really early. But some of my fondest memories come from that time of year. Some of the scenes are so fresh in my mind, it's hard to believe that many of them happened, like 25 years ago. It was a different Ireland then. There was no Celtic Tiger, no highway bypass through Nina, no Supermax, their version of McDonald's, and God help me, how did we survive without Riverdance? But for all that has changed, I still find much of the same charm and wonder I remember from back then. Oh, I specifically remember one cold January, sleeping in the back bedroom of my cousin's cottage. It was before I had my own place, and I was there for several weeks in January and February. Now, this was before central heat, and I remember waking up and being able to see my breath. I'd pull the wool blankets over my head and just hunker down in the warm bed. I could hear my cousin in the kitchen. Anna Mae was putting out the breakfast, and Michal was putting on his boots and then taking the tea kettle off the cooker. They'd be talking in low tones, and I'd just lay there, holding out under the covers for as long as possible. Then I'd peel back the covers, start the gas heater, step out of bed and into my clothes. Then I'd rush out to the kitchen to sit by the fire. Anna Mae and I would have tea and soda bread while Michal ate very fast and then headed out to milk the cows. After about a week, I convinced Michal to let me help with the milking. Of course, I proved to be completely useless. He saw that coming, I didn't. But my efforts definitely provided fodder for the sessions we'd have in the evenings with the neighbors. I also remember stopping in one afternoon at Carini Church. It's an old country church built into the side of the hill just down the road from where my home is now. And I was walking up there, I remember noticing that when it's cold, every sound seems to be amplified. The clank of the front gate sounded particularly loud when I opened it, as did the door of the church. The inside of the church wasn't much warmer than the outside. In fact, I'm sure it was warmer outside. But it was very calm and quiet inside, with just the 2 candle stands in the back of the church lit, with about 20 candles. I kept my jacket on and I sat in the pew and said a prayer or two, which is what my father always taught us to do when we went into a church. You didn't just walk in and look. You always knelt down and said a couple of prayers for past relatives or ill friends or just family. Of course, many times when my father would say this to me, he'd also mention it wouldn't hurt to say a few prayers and light a candle for your old dad. Well, Dad, you've been gone 5 years, and yes, I'm still saying that prayer for you and lighting that candle. After saying a few prayers in Carini Church that day, somewhere in the middle of it all, the daylight disappeared. Somehow, the church had become dark without me even noticing it. I remember walking out of the church. The air was very brisk and the sky was black, and the ground and the trees were covered in frost. Everything felt at peace. There was no wind and no sound except for my footsteps going up Carini Hill. For me, winter in Ireland is like having all of your favorite comfort foods on a cold day. Mashed potatoes, stew, warm apple tart, and a good chocolate cake from Collins's bakery. And you have all of your friends around, and everyone is just chatting and singing and just having great crack. It really is wonderful and peaceful, and I wish everybody could experience that. If you're planning to travel to Ireland in the winter, you really must remember something. Go there in search of the calm, the company, and the warmth that you can't measure with a thermometer.